Welcome to our Croc Pitch 2026 information session. My name is Dante St. James. I was previously joined by Alex Fruja, but this is a re-recording just to go through the entry qualifications and also the criteria that you need to be able to enter and succeed at Croc Pitch 2026. Let's share that screen and get underway. Just to give you an introduction to the Darwin Innovation Hub, as a meeting point for commercialising businesses in Northern Australia, we have the Paspalis Fund, Paspalis Capital, which handles the venture capital arm of our business. We also inform industry development through our relationships with government, Northern Territory and federally. We provide workspaces and learning spaces as well as facilitating business growth through the various programs we have. And we work in line with especially Charles Darwin University to commercialise research into usable commercial applications. How we began back in 2019 was where we launched Croc Pitch as an innovation pitching contest, where we had a certain amount of venture capital funding up for grabs. Now, it's held annually now as part of the Business Enterprise Centre's NT's Startup September, which is about a month of different learning and inspirational education events to help to get new businesses going and startups going. And this year, the event will take place on the 9th of September of the year. Now, leading 8 years later, Croc Pitch has become pretty much Northern Australia's biggest innovation pitch fest. It's getting bigger and growing in momentum every year, and we're looking for this one to be our best one yet. We say that every year. Croc Pitch is a hybrid event, so it can be attended both live and virtual by spectators and those who are participating in it as well. But we do find the experience is better for those who do come in person, simply because you have the crowd dynamic, you have your, the communications are much more clear when you're communicating direct to someone in that same room. But what it does, it provides our contributors, our sponsors, our stakeholders a really unmatched opportunity to showcase their business to the whole world that we're watching. So not that we've got 8 billion people watching, but we have plenty of people online who watch this with great interest to see what kind of innovations are being unearthed through Croc Pitch. It works with up to $1 million in venture capital investment. Now, what it is always due to subject to due diligence. So everything has to go through our DD procedures regardless. So whilst you may win the competition, we do have to go and do the checks and balances to make sure that the company is actually viable and that what you set on stage matches the reality in your data room. So if you've got a big Google Drive or a OneDrive full of all the information that we will need to be able to check on that, the right company structure, all that sort of thing, well, then you, the entrepreneur, can join us from anywhere in the world and we'll be able to check that with you. But we're looking specifically for innovations that deliver some kind of economic benefit to the northern part of Australia, specifically the Northern Territory, but it could be anywhere in Northern Australia. So that's scalable innovations, tech, products with a clear commercial potential in Northern Australia that have potentially outsized returns on investment. Paspalis Capital is the investor, which is the parent company that the Darwin Innovation Hub works within. And what we want to do is support high growth, rapid growing ventures that want to expand with some kind of application in Northern Australia. So that could be somewhere around where we're doing testing, you're doing test bedding, you're using what Northern Australia can offer as a way to be able to bring your innovation to that next level. You can view a bunch of our portfolio companies at paspalis.com.au, and a panel of leading investors, business leaders, government partners all come together to help us to select that winner. So they will pose a bunch of questions that are during the event. So they'll ask you a bunch of questions that clarify a position, clarify some of the data or the numbers you're doing. It's not like Shark Tank where we're trying to tear you down and create compelling TV. What we're doing here is part of that due diligence process is asking the questions that need to be asked that you would be asked by any investment in any pitch arrangement, whether it's a private pitch in a boardroom or whether it's in a pitching competition, much like this. It's not only though for the pitch presenters, but you get to watch who's actually presenting as a spectator, either online or in person. And you get to see the ideas that are really taking shape here in Northern Australia. Now, my part of this is as the presenter for the day, and also to help mentor you along the process of becoming ready for Croc Pitch. I work as a program manager through the Digital Solutions Program, our Start NT program, various other programs and events through the Innovation Hub. But Alex Ferrugia is your investment manager and definitely a mentor through the investment readiness and is part of that whole due diligence process. So he'll be asking questions that have a lot to do with the readiness of your business to be invested in, also the numbers, getting some clarity and some sanity on some of the claims that are made. He's, again, not there to grill you. He's there to get the right information, because nobody wants to be caught doing something that they don't really shouldn't be involved in. But he has been in high growth startups. He's been on spin outs and scale ups, and has worked in, done law and all sorts of stuff. So he really has that brain for this kind of stuff. So he knows, it sees the bigger picture, but also sees those granular pieces that make a startup that can help them to succeed or fail. But he's worked across mergers and acquisitions, capital raising, strategic advice, grants, tenders, valuations, and also finance modeling as well. So with an accounts and law background, he certainly has the brain to be able to look at that. So he will be, as we get further into this process, your primary contact there. And for the actual event, that's where I jump in and help you on the day and in the lead up. When if you need a little bit of pitch training or a little bit of help with how to pitch, I'll give you a hand with that side of it. Our previous Croc Pitches, we had a winner last year, Sebastian from Alula, which was a satellite innovation technology, which has been making some really big headway in this last year, actually. So the investment from Paspalis has certainly helped that along. But Alula has also trained investment from elsewhere as well. The event was presented by and attended by Robin Carl, who is the Minister for Trade, Business and Asian Relations in the Northern Territory. So we do get government people in there who are there specifically to see what's big and going to happen in the Northern Territory. So your criteria really is there must be an innovation or business that delivers an economic benefit that's measurable to Northern Australia and meet at least one of the following: either a company registered in Northern Australia or committed to doing a registration of a company in Northern Australia, a company that maintains a presence at the Darwin Innovation Hub, development stage companies that can demonstrate growth potential in global markets, offshore ventures that are seeking to relocate, commercialise or test bed in Northern Australia, maybe some research and development projects with CDU, Charles Darwin University, or other university or research organisations connected to the Innovation Hub. The startups sourced through Indigenous networks or the Northern Australia's Indigenous estate, and startups which have received grants from the NT government or Oz industry. So you don't need to fulfill all of those criteria. You just need to be at the number one there, which you need to be an innovation or business that must deliver a measurable economic benefit to Northern Australia, plus at least one of those following ones as well. What we do really venture highly towards is research commercialization initiatives, or if the company is outside of Northern Australia, they're willing to relocate some or all of their operations to Northern Australia. Also, co-investment opportunities with existing VCs or angels that you may have already arranged with, or that you're looking to do that in the future. We play really well with others, and we are willing to be the lead investor if that's what it takes, and up to a 5-year investment time horizon. So we're looking at an exit in around about that 5-year period. So we are in a venture capital company. We're not looking to own your company. It's an investment, and therefore we will always be looking at things that we can exit at some point. Now, the selection criteria will be around the stability and the credibility of your management team. So a really skilled, well-balanced, really motivated management team really helps you execute more. If you have a special source, a special something that's about your technology or your innovation, and how you'll be able to defend that against competitors. And we often refer to that as, what's your moat? What is the thing that protects you? Is it a patent? Is it something that if you're first to market, how far ahead of the rest of the market will you be? We're looking for, how easy is it for you to be replicated by someone else? So this very, very, very problematic with software right now, where vibe coding means that almost any piece of software can be duplicated, and essentially there's no moat there, so it doesn't make it very investable. If there's a business model, how you monetize what you're doing, and how then do you measure success? So, for instance, in year one, you might see success is about building market share rather than building profit. We don't necessarily need you to be profitable. We understand some of the ideas that come through are pre-revenue, but they have incredible potential for revenue over that 5-year period. In the financials, what are your revenue and cost drivers, and when do you expect to be profitable? So, like I said, it doesn't have to be now, but when do you expect to be profitable? If you've got projections, when do they show that profit starting to come in? Understanding the market, who are your customers, how you grow, how you acquire customers, and how do you retain those customers? For instance, if you've got a very sticky product that people tend to use again and again and again, or have you got a subscription model? Explain that to us. With the capital allocation, how are you going to spend that fund? So if you win the $1 million, how will you spend that money? What will it be spent on? Do you have a clear end goal with those funds? We call that use of funds. So what is your use of the funds? The exit strategy is who are the potential strategic buyers if that's your way out? You're going to build it to a point and then sell it. Or why would they be interested in buying it? And what are the other acquisitions they've had in the past? I think it used to always be this case when people build software companies to be acquired by Google. So in this case, if that's what you're trying to do, just explain that as part of your pitch. And then also what your Northern Australian connection is. What are you going to be doing around Northern Australia? Are you testing your technology in Northern Australia? Are you moving some of your team to Northern Australia? Are you working with government or research institutions in Northern Australia? And be very specific about it, because this is a really important part of why we choose who we do choose. So the applications start with this information session. So you can review it online or in the live one that we did earlier last week. Create your pitch, prepare a complete pitch deck. You'll have 10 minutes to present on the day, followed by a further 10 minutes of questions and answers from our panel of experts. So make sure your pitch addresses all the key eligibility and selection criteria that are in this information session. So you'll be able to watch this over again, and we're more than happy to send through this information to you as well. Register and submit your deck online. You need to get this in by 5 p.m. on the 5th of August. So by applying, you will agree to our terms and conditions for Croc Pitch 2026. And if you are a successful finalist, you'll be notified in writing on the 12th of August 2026. And that's when we'll proceed to step 4. If you haven't received that in writing by, I think it's 5 p.m. on the 12th of August, then you can assume that you won't be moving forward. Step 4 is to attend our Croc Camp, either virtually or in person. So you've got to participate in at least one Croc Camp session that we run, which is generally held online, but it can be in person if you prefer as well. That will be on the 19th of August, 2026. This is a mandatory preparation camp that, you know what, lets us get to know you. Also lets you get to know us. You can ask questions, we can ask questions, but what is the prep camp to test run your pitch? So we want to make sure that you're going to be within that 10 minutes. You're not going to go over, you're not going to be 2 minutes long, and we'll do it with myself and with Alex Ferrugia as well, and we'll help you to refine that based upon a bunch of feedback we can give you. We've been through this whole process a number of times before. At Croc Camp, you get to practice the pitch just the same way you would at the final. So bring your pitch deck, present it, and we'll give you enough feedback. You can also request to have some additional feedback from one or both of us after that camp as well, if there's private things you want to discuss. Number 5, finalize and submit your pitch. So you'll take in that feedback, you'll polish it up, you'll zhuzh it together, and then submit your final version by 5 p.m. ACST, so it's Darwin time, on the 1st of September this year. And then the Croc Pitch finalists then will perform in front of a live audience on the 9th of September 2026 as part of BECNT's Startup September at Darwin Innovation Hub. On the day, what you can expect is we'll have some guest speakers who will come along and present what they're doing, what their connection through is, what they will be looking for in the case of people who may also be part of our panel. You may even hear from one of our previous winners. And the finalists will then compete in the Croc Pitch at the Innovation Hub, pitching your innovation to a panel and a live audience. So that's where the rubber really hits the road. You'll present your 10-minute pitch either online or in person at a time slot we've provided. So for instance, if you're in the building, you'll get to see the previous people doing theirs. If you do need to do this remotely, we'll have you lined up for a specific call to drop in at a specific time that we'll arrange with you. And then you can stay if you're in the building for the whole day if you want. The winner will be announced at the competition close. The whole process take a couple of hours, and then we'll have the winner announced, and then the various arrangements we need to make with you from then. The process for the winner is that we approach you into Darwin Innovation Hub. So our facilitation team will ask those questions. Now, are they a Northern Australian related company and idea? Does it meet the selection criteria? You'll meet with our investment manager pretty much for a very, very early, which is a presentation on why we should invest. Usually takes around an hour, and we'll decide whether that looks like a potential investment. There'll be follow-up conversations that are usually a series of emails and documentations and opening up of data rooms. You need to show that you understand your market and your business. All the things you claimed in your pitch, that's basically what we're looking for, is to verify all that. And then we look at it, well, is this something we want to do? Is this something you would want to do? Or do you like the idea of working with us and us working with you? Then follow-up discussion will lead to a term sheet, which is a non-binding document that describes what we're going to do. So the key terms of the investment. So it's usually about 30 to 60 days to complete that process. Has to go with all the lawyers and all that sort of thing before we go into due diligence, where we want to know everything the company knew. So obviously all those confidentiality agreements will take place then. And we'll do a little bit more background due diligence to make sure that we're doing the right thing, because in Australia you have a fiduciary responsibility. The whole back of the napkins write a check thing, it doesn't really happen in Australia. It doesn't really happen anywhere anymore. And then finally, the shareholders agreement describes how all the shareholders will work together and what that means. And then finally, a subscription agreement, which is the actual investment amount, and the shares that are issued as part of that investment as well will be defined in a completely binding legal document. Just like with any venture capital process, there's nothing specifically unique here apart from that we have the show of Croc Pitch, which is on the 9th of September. If you'd like to know more about it or chat to one of us about it, please do get in touch with us through the numbers on the screen and the email address. Alex, our investment manager, gets those emails straight through to his inbox, and so do I. So I'll see those as well. So we'll be able to reach out to you and answer those questions pretty quickly. Thank you so much for watching. Again, any questions, please send them through to vc@paspalis.com.au. Thank you, and all the best with your Croc Pitch innovation.